The construction of the ancient Egyptian pyramids. Mysteries, technologies, and organization introduction. The pyramids of ancient Egypt are among the most mysterious and majestic monuments in world history. Their scale and durability continue to impress us. For more than 4,500 years, they have stood in the desert as if they were petrified symbols of eternity. Especially famous is the Giza Pyramid Complex, crowned by the Great Pyramid of Khufu, Cheops, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and the only one still standing today. For centuries, people debated how the Egyptians managed to build such colossal monuments. Some believed that only slave labor could have achieved this. Others proposed mystical explanations or even the intervention of extraterrestrials. Yet modern archaeology and Egyptology allow us to reconstruct the building process with remarkable clarity. Organization of labor. Who built the pyramids? One of the greatest myths about the pyramids is that they were built by slaves. This image owes much to biblical tradition and modern films. However, archaeological research has thoroughly disproven this notion. In the 1990s, archaeologists led by Mark Lehner and Zahi Hawass excavated the so-called Workers' Village near the Giza Plateau. They discovered remains of houses, bakeries, breweries, workers' cemeteries, and even graffiti carved by the builders themselves. These findings show that pyramid builders were not slaves, but free peasants and craftsmen who were fed, housed, and clothed. Most likely, construction work was seen as a form of national service to the pharaoh and the gods. During the annual flooding of the Nile, when farmlands were submerged and farming was impossible, tens of thousands of peasants were recruited for state projects like pyramid building. Thus, pyramids became not only royal tombs, but also national undertakings that united the country. Estimates suggest that around 20,000, 30,000 workers were needed for the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Among them were not only peasants, but also skilled specialists, stonemasons, carpenters, engineers, architects, and overseers. This demonstrates the high level of organization behind pyramid building. Materials and quarrying. The primary building material was limestone. Much of it was quarried directly at the Giza Plateau, near the construction site. For the outer casing, the Egyptians used brilliant white limestone from Tura, which gave the pyramid a dazzling reflective surface, shining brightly in the sun. Particularly important interior chambers, such as the king's chamber in Khufu's pyramid, were lined with granite. This was transported from Aswan, more than 800 kilometers to the south. Granite blocks often weighed 40-60 tons, making their transport a feat of engineering in itself. Stones were cut using copper chisels, stone hammers, and wooden mallets. Another clever technique involved driving wooden wedges into cracks in the stone, then soaking them with water. As the wood expanded, it split the stone. Transportation of blocks. How did the Egyptians transport such massive stones? Archaeological finds and ancient depictions help answer this. The most common method involved wooden sledges. Stones were placed on sledges and dragged across the desert sand. To reduce friction, workers poured water on the sand ahead of the sledges, a technique confirmed by a wall painting found in the tomb of Jehuti-Hotep. Some scholars also suggest that canals were dug near the construction sites. The Nile was the lifeline of Egypt, and barges likely carried heavy blocks, including granite from Aswan, close to the Giza Plateau. Raising the stones to great heights. Perhaps the greatest debate concerns how stones were lifted to the upper courses of the pyramids. Several theories exist. 1. The straight ramp theory. A massive ramp, hundreds of meters long, was built in front of one side of the pyramid. Stones were hauled upward on sledges. The drawback is the immense size such a ramp would require. 2. The spiral ramp theory. Ramps wound around the pyramid in a spiral, allowing gradual lifting of blocks. 3. The internal ramp theory. Some scholars suggest that hidden internal corridors inside the pyramid were used to move blocks upward. It is possible that the Egyptians combined different methods at different stages of construction. Archaeological evidence strongly supports the use of ramps, though their exact form remains debated. Precision of construction. What continues to amaze researchers is the extraordinary precision of the pyramids. The Great Pyramid is aligned with the cardinal directions to within a fraction of a degree. Its base is leveled with an error of only a few centimeters, despite covering over 5 hectares. How did they achieve this? Egyptians used simple but effective tools: plumb bobs, leveling instruments with water, measuring ropes, and sighting rods. For orientation, they observed the movements of stars. In this sense, pyramids were not just tombs. They were also astronomical instruments, linking earth and sky. Time frame and scale. According to Herodotus, Khufu's pyramid took 20 years to complete. Modern estimates support this time frame. With about 2.3 million stone blocks, if workers placed just 1 or 2 blocks per person per day, the project could indeed be finished in 2 decades. This required immense logistics. Workers needed food, clothing, and tools. Archaeological evidence shows that the workforce consumed tons of bread, beer, and meat daily. Thus, pyramid building was not just about stone. It was also about feeding and managing an entire city of laborers. Religious and symbolic meaning pyramids were far more than royal tombs. Their shapes symbolized the sun's rays, and they were designed as cosmic stairways by which the soul of the deceased pharaoh could ascend to the heavens and join the sun god Ra. Construction itself was a sacred act, a demonstration of the divine order, linking the people, the pharaoh, and the gods. This spiritual dimension explains why such extraordinary effort was invested in their creation. Myths and misconceptions. The pyramids have inspired many myths. The slave labor myth, disproven by evidence of workers' villages and organized paid labor. The alien theory, popular in the 20th century, but rooted in underestimating ancient engineering skills. Super technology theories, imaginative but unsupported by archaeology. The reality, though less sensational, is even more impressive. With human ingenuity, discipline, and organization, the Egyptians achieved what seemed impossible. Conclusion. The construction of the pyramids represents the pinnacle of ancient Egyptian engineering, organization, and cultural achievement. It was not merely a technical task of piling stones, but an act of national unity, a political statement of pharaonic power, and a religious project connecting earth and heaven. That is why the pyramids continue to astonish us today, as eternal reminders that human determination, vision, and collaboration can indeed create wonders.